enterprise. The view from Noodle.ai. Video AI is already creating jobs and boosting business. Noodle.ai was founded in March 2016 by Stephen Pratt, who has an impressive track record in the tech industry. Before launching the San Francisco-based AI startup, he oversaw all worldwide Watson implementations for IBM Global Business Services. Prior to that, he was the founder and CEO of Infosys Consulting, a senior partner at Deloitte Consulting, and a technology and strategy consultant at Booz, Allen and Hamilton. Noodle.ai is firmly focused on the enterprise, and its mission is to bring business executives, process experts, and AI technologies together to address complex business challenges and deliver enhanced outcomes. ZDNet talked to Stephen Pratt to learn more. Stephen Pratt, CEO of Noodle.ai. ZDNet, how did your career path lead you to forming Noodle.ai? Stephen Pratt, I have a background in satellite communication and digital signal processing, and started my career doing spooky stuff for the government. Later I was a partner at Deloitte, and did the first ever project using teams in India and the US combined, and it worked so well I thought it was the future of technology implementations. But Deloitte said they didn't want to change their strategy, so we approached the Infosys board with the idea of starting Infosys Consulting. We would do the upfront business part with technology implementation managed from India. They said yes, and at the time, that was a revolutionary thing, because everybody was flying in their entire team every week and flying them home by the weekend. So we started that in 2004. And spent a decade growing it from two of us to, when I left in 2014, 32,000 people and $2.3 billion in my consulting and systems integration group. Along the way we'd done a lot of work in analytics, and I'd actually done a project back in the 90s using neural networks, trying to find which ships coming off the west coast were drug smugglers. We wrote a neural network, and you'd hit return, and then wait a couple of weeks while it burned through lots of extremely expensive computer processing power. Then it would tell you the answer, typically about a week after those ships had left. Presumably that was during the so-called AI winter, before computing resources were really up to the task. Actually, I'd say it was the AI fall, or autumn, right before the winter. This was when people were very excited about AI, but then the reality hit, that the computing power wasn't there. When I left Infosys, I connected with a private equity company, TPG, and said, I want to run a company that combines deep expertise in business operations with learning algorithms. They really liked the idea, so we set out to buy an analytics company and looked at about 30, and the idea was I'd go run it. We started with $100 million companies, then $50 million companies, then $10 million companies, then $5 million companies. Eventually it didn't look like it was going to happen, and I got a call from a friend at IBM who said, "Well, don't you come and run all the Watson implementation for IBM Global Services?" So I went and did that, but it wasn't really my thing. I wanted to design an operation that was custom-built for this new age of technology, and it was much easier to do that as an independent entity than fitting in with something else. So TPG called me back and said, "We still have all this money. We typically don't do startups, but we love the investment thesis, so why don't you just go start it?" That was the beginning of Noodle.ai. After looking and not finding what we wanted, we decided to create it. So we got a great team, including my co-founder Raj Joshi and Matt Denisick, who at the time was the Chief Data Science Officer at GE. See also, how artificial intelligence is taking call centers to the next level. What was the business model for Noodle.ai? The basic premise is AI as a service, allowing customers to pay by the drink, as it were, to deploy AI technologies in their companies. We started out by looking at the landscape of where AI can apply within enterprises, and we're absolutely convinced that, over time, learning algorithms are going to replace rules-based software to help companies make complex business decisions. Looking a decade into the future, I think it'll be very hard to find rules-based software that's driving business decision-making. but companies are trying to figure out where to start, and we also saw that many are starting in what we thought were the wrong places. So we spent a lot of time thinking, what is the highest value place where you can apply learning algorithms to create economic value for companies and help them serve their customers better? And we settled on the space of core operations planning. If you look at companies with complex supply chains, the way they do planning every month, the sales and operations planning process is fundamentally broken.